So, oh man. So now I'm gonna make flour. I'm gonna make flour dumpling. I think dumplings are made with flour, no? All dumplings are. Oh no, there's cornmeal dumpling too. So right now I'm going to make boiled dumpling to go with my salt mackerel. Making boiled dumpling can be a project, and it can be a very messy one. If you notice, I don't really do the measuring cup stuff. We just have a way of knowing when enough flour is enough. So you could do a cup of flour. It depends on how many dumplings you want to make. Right now I'm just making enough dumpling just for dumpling. For the purpose of making dumplings, a dash of salt to give the flour flavor. It's boiled dumpling, so that's alright. If you want to make it salty dumpling or not so salty, then you use cold water, not warm water, not lukewarm, not hot, cold water for the flour to bond together. And that's the reason why I'm stirring the flour like this, is to mix the salt in with the flour. Right now I have a cup of water. I pour, not all of it, I pour like 3/4 of a cup in to make my flour compound. And it's not enough water, you can tell, because it's very clumpy, but it's not fully in its dough form. So it may take a, and if you put too much water in your flour, you can always add more flour. I'm notorious for doing that. Why I don't like making flour dumplings, personally, sometimes I use a spoon if I don't feel like getting my hands all nice and kitchen-like, doughy, is because it sticks to your hands. Don't get me wrong, I just don't like the feel of it, personally. But if you cook in the kitchen on a regular basis at home, you're used to having pasty hands and fingers, because that's just the nature of cooking. You have to explore texture. So I put a dash, because right now, oh, I forgot to show you. See, it's very soft. It's not hard enough. It has to be a little bit more solid. Almost like a Pillsbury dough texture. So it's getting there. You see this? Right now it looks like Play-Doh. This is how they actually make homemade Play-Doh, by the way. You just put a little coloring, food coloring in it to get the color that you want. And there you go, you have your Play-Doh. I'm so tired, folks. I actually went to bed pretty early in the morning. When I say early in the morning, meaning I didn't sleep. And not only I didn't sleep, my son had the alarm clock for 6:30. Go figure. 6:30, I hear this noise buzzing, and I'm like, oh my goodness, don't tell me it's a weekday. And I ignored it for a few minutes, and it just kept going. And I'm like, what the, is today not Saturday? I'll be really disappointed if today's not Saturday. And then I looked at my laundry and I said, no, that's definitely, today is definitely a Saturday. It's not a weekday, it's a weekend. And something is wrong. So by the time I came out the room into the living room, I see the cell phone with an alarm clock on it. Some days you wish that school days he would set an alarm clock so he could be up and out the door equally. So I think I'm gonna start setting the alarm clock and leave it right underneath his pillow in the morning, so it could actually wake him up the way I woke up today, much earlier than I should. Then I missed an appointment, then I had to run out, the things we have to do. I wonder sometimes if when people are kneading flowers, we call it, right? If when you're actually kneading the flour, they have a lot of thoughts running through their mind, not to make how the perfect flour, but they just have like a to-do list in the back of their mind, and as they're shaping the flour and they're rolling it, they're like, okay, I have to pick up Simon, I have to get my laundry from the dry cleaner, I have to get my shoe shine, I have to clean, I think it's very hard for me right now to just sit here and knead a flour without having thought going on. You know, I've been doing my first 100 days in office. It's very stimulating, this kneading flour. Very tiring too. My arms are like tired. See, it's coming to a perfect thing. The fun part is you got to see how I make my dumplings. Totally wrong. There's a right way to knead the dumpling and there's a wrong way, and I do it the wrong way. But either way you look at it, you can still eat it. Okay, so this is the dumpling. This is the texture that is supposed to be. It's almost like a pizza dough, or like you're making something. It's like a pie dough. So this is the dumpling, and I like to do it this way. Don't ask me why, but the right way to do this, and you keep applying flour to get rid of its stickiness. Now, my mama didn't teach me how to make the flour. I just observed. There's some things that you can just look at what a person is doing and learn it, and some things they have to give you the instructions. So, kneading flour is one of the easiest things. You kind of just look at what the person is doing, and you get a better sense once you start to feel its texture, and you know what it's supposed to look like. You get a good sense of how it should be done. The right way and the wrong way. The end result is always the determining factor is whether or not you did it correctly or incorrectly. So now, you can make some big audacious dumplings, you can make some little small dumplings. Whichever way you want to make it, you could. I like to make a hand-sized dumpling. I don't know, it tastes better that way. Okay, I'm going to turn off the macro. Let's see. This is my dumpling. You see how it is? Here is how I make the dumpling, and this is, I'm told this is the wrong way. I keep going like this, you know, like, and I do this with it like it's Play-Doh, and it's really not Play-Doh. There's supposed to be like a dimple on the inside. You're supposed to squeeze it like this, and you see the dimple? Can you see the dimple? The sunlight. But you see, there's supposed to be like a dimple in a dumpling. So I was told by someone who says they're a dumpling expert. No, not my mommy, not my siblings. Someone who swears he's the best dumpling maker ever. So anyhow, so this is how I make my dumpling. And I just do, instead of using my finger, I use the corner of my thumb. And I make an indentation. And there you go, see? And you put it in the pot. With boiling water. The water that has your banana and your yam. I think one of the best ways to make dumplings is not to include it in the same pot with the yam, the banana, and everything else. You should have a dumpling pot by itself, because then you can apply butter to the water and give your dumpling a very nice buttery flavor. Those are like the best dumplings ever. When you put a little butter on your dumplings and it just melts in your mouth, almost like boiled biscuits, if you know what I mean. Anyhow, so my dumplings are not so, they're like the size of my palm. See, sometimes it can look a little bit funky in shape, but hey, in the end, just as long as you can eat it, that's all that matters. And it's not going to be tough. I could have applied like cornmeal in it, so you can mix cornmeal and the flour to make your dumpling. I personally don't like cornmeal dumpling, even though they say it's healthier for you. It's harder, it's meaning tough in texture, and I just don't know how to form the cornmeal to make the compound this firm like the flour. Flour is the easiest. So when you do get cornmeal dumpling made and it's delightful, you should thank and give compliments to the chef, because they know what they're doing. Cornmeal dumpling is one of the hardest things to make. I think it's time consuming too, I don't know. Anyhow, I don't make cornmeal dumpling to advise you.